We're going to be talking about percentages in this video. Specifically for grade 8, this is percentages above 100% or below 1%. But first, a quick review of last year. So you need to be able to write each percent as a fraction and a decimal. Mostly we use the decimal, but sometimes a fraction. Remember, percentage means that it's out of 100. So 7% would mean 7 out of 100, or 7 hundredths, which is 0.07. One way we thought about it was, if the decimal was here, you're dividing by 100, which means you would move the decimal point 2 places on each one. Okay, so if you have this next one, 7.75%, it's still out of 100. So if you're dividing that, you end up getting 0.0775 as a decimal. Or move it 2 places, put the decimal point. Okay, 7 1/4 is the same as 7.25. So percent, move the decimal 2 places, or it'd be 7.25 over 100, so 0.0725. This one here looks like it's already in a decimal, but it's actually a percent because of the percent sign. So we still have to move the decimal point 2 places. So it'd be 0.0056 as a decimal. Same with this one, it's a percent. So I would move the decimal 2 places or divide that by 100. So it'd be 0.008%. Okay, so move it 2 places always. Works the same with percents over 100. It would still be 134 over 100, which would give me a decimal of 1.34. Okay, and 350 over 100, or move the decimal place 2 places. My decimal is 3.50, or just 3.5. Most of the time we'll use the decimals to calculate things in problems. All right, so if you're given the total and want to find a certain percentage of that total, you can take the decimal form of the percent and multiply it by the total. So for example, find what 23% of 342 is. So I changed 23% into a decimal, which is 0.23. Multiply it by the total number, and 23% of 342 is 78.66. If I were to find what 145% of 210 is, I'm going to take this, my percent, change it to a decimal, which would be 1.45, multiply it by 210, and I'm going to get 304.5. Okay, so if my percentage is over 100%, my percent of this number has to be larger than the original, because 100% is 210, so it would make sense that 145% is bigger. Okay, 301% of 42, so I'm going to change this percent to a decimal. It would be 3.01, times it by my total of 42, and I would get 126.42. So the test was out of a total of 15 marks. If you got 77.5%, how many did you get correct? So we would take that 77.5, change it to a decimal, which is 0.775, times it by my total of 15 questions, and I get approximately 11.6 correct. Your bill at a restaurant came out to be $57.14. You tipped 15%. How much would the tip be, and how much is the total bill after the tip? Well, we have to find what 15% of 57.14 is. So take my 57.14, times it by the decimal form of 15%. I would get $8.57 is my tip. My total, so I would take my $57.14 now and add the tax onto it. My total is $65.71. Sorry, I added the tip on, not the tax. Or if I wanted to find the original total cost right away, I could take $57.14 and times it by 1.15. I would get the same answer. This is because multiplying it by 1 right here, that's like timesing it by 100%. So I'm taking my total bill and adding just the 15% onto it in one step, and I get my answer. Last example, you buy a house for $105,000. You sell it for 135% of what you paid for it. How much profit did you make? Okay, so what I want to find is how much I made. So you could take your percentage, change it to a decimal here. I get 1.35 times that by 105,000. This is going to give me what I sold it for. So 1.35 times 105,000 is 141,750. That's what you sold it for. Profit means how much you made. So I would take 141,750 and subtract what I paid for it. So I made $36,750. Now, if you put $15,000 into fixing it up, what would the profit have been? So I take my profit there minus the $15,000. I end up getting $21,750. So that's percent.